Anin Nibin Makwan Dijnakas Makwan Totem. My name is Derek Nepinak, Grand Chief of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. On June 6th, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be beginning what we call the Treaty Freedom Caravan. The caravan is identified as an opportunity for us to promote education, awareness, and renewal of the treaty relationship and the importance of the relationship in today's very difficult political and economic climate that we exist in as Indigenous people. The caravan will begin with a pipe ceremony at Lower Fort Garry, where Treaty 1 was originally signed. It'll carry on then to the Swan Lake First Nation Reserve in Treaty 1 territory, where we'll have a fish fry before we begin the trip. We'll be taking a western route along Highway 1 with key stops along the way. We hope to stop in the Dakota territories as one of our first stops to remember that the treaty relationship did not just begin with the Crown when we made treaty with the newcomers. The treaty relationship extends far back into the history of our people. A lot of people would say that before there was treaty we had Aboriginal title to the land, but the truth is that before there was treaty with the Crown, there was still treaty, because we needed to be respectful of one another and we needed to figure out ways of living within the territories and the ancestral lands of our people together in harmony. And I do believe that there are treaties that we need to remember that were agreed upon long before there was ever any European influence in the ancestral lands. The Treaty Freedom Caravan will then continue westward. We're gonna make our way into Saskatchewan. We're gonna make our way into Treaty 4 territory, and we hope to be invited into many of the communities along the way. Many of the First Nations communities will have the opportunity to meet with us directly, or in passing. We will be able to bring a piece of the treaty fire to each community, and by bringing the treaty fire to the community, we'll have the opportunity to present to the chief and council, or the protocol keeper, or the fire keeper of each community that we visit, with a piece of coal from the treaty fires that were lit at the several treaty meetings we've had over the last number of years in the Treaty 1 to 11 territories. The treaty fire will also be accompanied with tobacco in observance of the historical protocols, or the ancient protocols of our people. Continuing on westward, we'll make our way into Alberta, into Treaty 7 territory, hopefully being able to engage some of the communities in Treaty 7 as we make our way into Calgary. Once we make it to Calgary, we'll be turning north. We'll drive along the Kiwi 2 up to Edmonton, hopefully being able to stop around Hobbema and visit some of the communities in the area, some of the Cree communities in Treaty 6. We'll make our way east from there in a bit of a northeast way. We'll try and make it through Keeseekowenin, Saddle Lake, and across over into Onion Lake, and then into Saskatchewan. We'll continue on eastward, making our way up to Prince Albert, and we hope to meet with some of the communities from the Prince Albert Tribal Council along the way. Making our way back down in a bit of a southeast direction, back down towards Quill Lake, where we'll likely stop for at least a day to relax and just to recuperate from what will no doubt be a very difficult ride. From there, we'll make our way back into Manitoba through Swan Lake, by the Pine Creek First Nation, through the Wesqueesipik First Nation, up by Saptoiwa Cree Nation, and then to the Opaskwayak Cree Nation in the Paw. From the Paw, we'll make our way back down south in a southeasterly direction. We'll make our way through Chemamoan Cree Nation, Grand Rapids. We'll then hit number 6 and make our way down to Penamutang, Lake St. Martin, Dauphin River, Little Saskatchewan. Hopefully get a chance to swing through Lake Manitoba First Nation, and then make our way back down the highway into Treaty 1 territory in Winnipeg. We anticipate the ride will take between 10 to 12 days. We're going to be sleeping on the side of the road in campsites along the way. The caravan will likely be very small, but nonetheless the message is important. It's a time of renewal, it's a time of revitalization for the treaty. It's an opportunity to carry the message back to our people that as the Indigenous people of these lands, we were born free. We're born with a plenary freedom to live our lives in the way that we want to. We have Indigenous rights to these lands, Indigenous rights that transcend or are more fundamental to our experience than anything that can be prescribed upon us by way of policy under the Indian Act, or any other type of government federal or provincial legislation that's written on paper and expected to have an impact on our lives. We have the opportunity, I think we have the obligation, to move beyond the Indian Act, to redefine our identities within the customary ways of our people along our languages and our cultural lines again. The Indian Act has no future for us, and it's only through the treaty relationship, I think, that there's an opportunity to move beyond the Indian Act and to remember what the spirit and intent of our agreements were. The route itself is subject to change. The route itself is subject to the elements along the way, and the elements may determine, the ability of us to move quickly, or it might slow us down depending on the weather. We hope to engage community people. This isn't just about chiefs and council, this is about leadership and treaty. And we recognize in the Treaty Freedom Caravan that leadership expresses itself in many different ways, and we encourage people to be engaged, to be involved, to join us in the caravan if you have the ability and the capacity. I'll be riding my motorcycle. I know that there'll be a couple of others on their motorcycles as well. We'll be followed by hopefully an RV with our elder and some of our technical staff that will keep Twitter feeds going. They'll keep the Facebook social media network going, and we'll be continuing to take raw footage throughout the ride in order to potentially put together some kind of a documentary or an education tool for people as we go forward. The Treaty Freedom Ride is about the completion of undertakings out of ceremony. It had been said that it's now time for the treaty communities to light a treaty fire in their communities, to burn away the haze of negativity, the haze of misunderstanding, the haze of complacency, the haze of apathy when it comes to who we are as Indigenous people and our obligations to treaty. The treaty fire represents the opportunity to rekindle or to reignite the strong treaty fundamentals that we need to begin to reshape for the benefit of future generations. We're standing in a day and age when provincial and federal governments, through the application of policy and law, are really running roughshod over our treaty relationship. In fact, I would say that the provincial and federal policies and laws that I've seen coming out in the last probably number of years anyway are not only ignoring the treaty relationship, but they're actually designed to promote not just aggressive assimilation, but they're designed to promote us forgetting what treaty is and who we are as Indigenous people. And it's important that collectively we have a collective conscience of what it means to be a treaty person, an Indigenous person in these lands. And that's what this Treaty Freedom Caravan is all about. It's an opportunity to reconnect, to make inroads with people that might feel like they're on the outside of the politics at times. This is a community initiative. It's an initiative that flows from the Unity Accord of the Manitoba Chiefs. It also flows from the unified position of the Manitoba Chiefs to reestablish a strong treaty relationship on a nation-to-nation, treaty territory by treaty territory basis. Keeseekowenin Ojibway, thank you.